Hey, welcome to Out of Spec Reviews. We're going to do another one of our quick setup things. This X3 30e M Sport just got dropped off. That is the plug-in hybrid X3 2020. Has 7,100 miles on it, which is a lot for a media vehicle. We're going to get it set up, take it for our first drive. I haven't driven it yet. Seems really nice. This one's the plug-in hybrid. Instant positive about this car is the power charge port. The J1772 port on the front doesn't have a silly little cover, so you can just plug in and unplug and you don't need to remove the cover every time. One of the biggest problems with PHEVs is you're constantly plugging them in whenever you're not using them because you want to optimize the battery driving on electric, and in here it's just easier to do so. So let's get it started. Foot on the brake. Vehicle key is missing. I'll go grab the key and then we'll start this whole shindig. All right, I have the key now, so start. Just like modern BMWs makes all the chimes. Gosh, I hate modern BMW instrument clusters right off the bat. It's just bad. Too much stuff going around the side. Give me my dials. Man, so let's go through the spec before we do anything. 2020 X3 30e. X-Drive, of course, all-wheel drive is 48.5. The X3 X-Drive 30, which is just the 2-liter 4-cylinder, is like $5 grand cheaper, but you also get a $5,500 tax credit. Either way, it's like pretty much no extra money to get the plug-in hybrid, so why wouldn't you get the plug-in hybrid after the tax credit? $5,000 M Sport. I think it's $4,600 for 2021 model year. Either way, some of the pricing's changed, but near as makes no difference. This thing's 65 grand. Has the 20-inch wheels, cognac Vernasca leather with contrast stitching. I definitely see that. Nice color combo on this car. Dark gray over this brown. I really like that. Has driving assistance package, driving assistance plus, dynamic handling, executive, and Harman Kardon. So it's got all the stuff, basically. And yeah, I think this one, yeah, that one's just my loan agreement. Okay, cool. So buckle up. Now we need to get the settings set up. So modern BMWs are touchscreen, but they still let you have the old iDrive controller, which is great. So we make sure audio is muted. You can also turn up and turn down the radio with gesture control. You can also change songs and do some other things, but I really don't know any of the commands offhand. But let's go over here to car and settings to start. General settings. Well, we should probably have that in automatic time zone settings. Is it 2 o'clock already? So Logic 7 surround, you can choose your surround level. We'll put that in the middle. Yeah, okay, we'll put this closer to the middle, I think. And equalizer, so you can get real nerdy. You can have like a V-shaped wave, which is kind of what I prefer. Touchscreen, touchpad, and this is where you turn gestures on and off. That's kind of cool. Gesture control. Operating tips, display. Oh, so that'll tell you like, hey, I'm turning up the volume. Whoa, or I'm turning down the volume. I guess that's how you do that. Audio confirmation. Oh, and you can assign functions. So let's do guidance to home. Okay, so hold your index and middle fingers outstretched towards the thing. Oh, and then I can put in my home address, so I could just say, come here. Well, that's pretty neat. I guess I can use the back button to get back to where I want to go. So I guess I can program. And then the second gesture is to 1, 2, 3, and then that's programmed as home right now. So that's kind of neat. You can tell, you know, you can learn your gestures. We'll just put, man, I don't even know what I want. Music recognition? I don't even know what that is. It just learns what songs are. I don't know. Yeah, pop-ups, getting started, all the stuff. Speed warnings, we want none of that. Fatigue and focus alert. Let's do it on sensitive. I think it's funny when it tells me I want to get a coffee. Anticipatory hybrid drive. So this is a cool setting. The car will actually know when you're on a drive with the navigation system, and it will figure out when it's most efficient to use the combustion engine or the electric drivetrain. I definitely want that on. I think it's really cool. We should actually try that system. We'll drive into Denver from here in Fort Collins. It's about an hour, and come back and figure out what it does there and back. Engine sound. Oh, what? depending on drive mode. No, I don't want any fake noises in here. Gosh, BMW is like the king of fake engine noises. And now I've activated the system, the Hello BMW. Or is it Hey BMW? I don't even know what it is. Yeah, I think it's Hey BMW. You know, they all got their things. Mobile devices, blah, blah, blah. Don't need any of that. So now we get driving modes, and you can configure different individual modes, whether you'd like a sporty individual mode or an Eco Pro individual. And I actually like that because I have two different styles of driving. One's very efficient, cruising around town, using the least amount of energy possible. The other is I'm on a canyon road and I want to absolutely shred. So we're going to put the suspension in sport, the steering in comfort, engine in sport, transmission in sport plus. Oh, that's cool. Sport plus. So when I tell it I want to go individual sport, it's going to go everything sporty except keep the steering nice and light. This one also has adaptive steering ratio, I believe, which will be kind of cool to play around with. Eco Pro functions. Eco Pro seat heating, Eco Pro climate control, Eco Pro light and sight. That means that exterior mirror and window heating are reduced. This is nothing new. BMW's been doing this forever. Damping, comfort, and suspension and steering comfort. Absolutely, I like a light steering. Battery control. So this is interesting. You can say when you want to charge the battery and what percentage you want to charge the high voltage battery to, 30 to 100%. We'll do 100%. I need it at 100% for my highway range testing that I do for inside EVs. Now we'll go through some more. So one touch turn signal. Now you can adjust 1 or 3 clicks. I mean, it's all the same. It's just, you know, I haven't actually spent that much time with the newer BMWs. I've owned BMWs and Mini products for years. You can see our i3 just in front of us. I don't think I've ever, maybe I have lived without a BMW in the garage, but I'm a BMW guy. And I'm glad that this is there. So pedestrian warning, yes. Front collision warning early. Side collision warning, yes. Lane departure warning, I think, yes. And steering intervention, cool. Active blind spot, yes. Early and steering intervention. Great, so it's got tons of great safety tech on this thing. Automatic parking sensors when you get close to something. Ooh, this is kind of cool. It will actually slam on the brakes if you get close to hitting something. We'll turn that on. Automatic parking, sure. Cross traffic warning, yes. Wow. Way more stuff than like a Tesla has. And like BMW's got all this stuff. Steering wheel feedback. Let's put that to medium. Although I'm glad there's a setting because I owned a F80 M3 competition with the lane, not the adaptive lane keeping, but it would buzz you when you hit the lanes. And it really was annoying. I turned that off, and that's very rarely do I turn that stuff up. Heads up display, brightness, I like it nice and bright. Height, okay, so now I'm just adjusting it for my view. Typically like it as low as possible without it getting cut off. Rotation, yeah, I think right in the middle is good. Navigation, just show me everything. Display infotainment lists in, yep, heads up display and sport displays, sport mode. I kind of actually don't like that, but we'll just keep it in sport mode. What this is like a rev counter that says, hey, you need to shift now. And reduced height. No, I want it to go all the way up. Instrument panel. Oh yeah, central is map, route preview, which I would actually prefer, or just off. Well, it doesn't give you any extra, it's not like the gauges get bigger, so I guess we'll just do map. What's converted speed? Oh, that's also kilometers. Yeah, why not? I like to know. Keeps me on top of my things. And then you have a reduced mode. Oh, this is nice. It just gets rid of all the clutter. I need the clutter to evaluate the car, but if I owned one, I would probably just keep it on reduced and just drive it and just keep everything in the heads-up display. That's kind of nice. And brightness at night, I prefer a dimmer screen at night. So this is cool. Lots of great stuff here. Doors and access. Tailgate, open all the way. Yes. Lock automatically. No. Lock after starting to drive. Turn off vehicle after the door is opened. That's cool, but no. Sometimes I like to let it idle. Flash, sound, and fold. Absolutely. Interior lighting. Oh yeah, I've already set this blue because we actually came out to the car last night and tried out some of the lighting. Temperature adjustment. This is like old BMWs had like a hot or cold thing. Rear climate control And default settings, when the vehicle is started, like remote start, the rear climate control is reset to automatic and a temperature of 72. Yes, and that's like, so someone doesn't just leave it on high back there. That's a really good setting. Auto recirculate, yes. Driver seat heating automatically below 50. I like a hot seat all the way. Steering wheel active all the way below 45 degrees. Yeah, this is great adjustability. I love all this. Front passenger seat heating automatically, no, because it's usually just me. So don't need that. And preconditioning, yeah, and you can also schedule it to hold your temperature in the cabin if you have to run into the store, and you can program these into these buttons here, which is great. Now the key itself is a nice key. It's an M Sport version, so you get the M stripes on the key, which is kind of cool. You can see that here. I know it's a little blurry, sorry about that. But we want it to unlock all doors and the tailgate to unlock all doors there. So that's all of the settings for the car. And then of course you can create your driver's profile, save that profile to a USB stick, and then every time you get into another BMW, it tries to find the nearest seating position. It's really cool. They've been doing this for years and years. I used to work for BMW like at the dealer in high school, and we were doing all this stuff. So now we get trip data, sport displays. It's really nothing's crazy new here. The new infotainment's different. I think this screen overall is a little bit too small. What is a car sharing module? Front radar sensor. Okay, so this is like licenses, just to making sure that, you know, if you live in California, this car gives you cancer type stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is all, it's a really nice display, very snappy, super great and responsive, but it's just small and far away. Not sure how I feel about that. We'll just put it on the map for now. Then we get some settings down here. I have my traction control settings, Sport, Comfort, and Eco Pro as the driving modes, but then also Adaptive, which will do predictive adjustment of vehicle setting for the driving situation. Such a German way of putting it. I also have eDrive settings, so I can drive with it in battery control, where it will try to charge up the battery to the target value. I've set it to 100%. I have Max eDrive, which will let me run the battery all the way down to 0, and even if you go wide open throttle, I believe to the kickdown switch, we'll have to try that, then it'll stay in electric mode. And then Auto eDrive is like the automatic hybrid. It'll just kind of figure it all out, and that will do it based off your navigation inputs as well. So that's like a 12-minute introduction to the car. I even missed some little things, like you have parking lights that you can adjust on either side, which I love. In older BMWs, you would just hold the turn signal down. I don't like the new BMW turn signals because they don't go back to the center. They do one touch, but this was like, I loved the older BMW turn signals because they would always return. They confused everyone. Like I said, I used to work at a BMW dealer. No one could figure them out, so it's probably smart that they did that. They have the new style shifter in here, but it works the same as older BMWs. We're in Max eDrive right now. We're going to put it in comfort mode. I love that you can control the battery, how the car's handling the battery situation, separate from the drive mode. So, oh yeah, let me put the camera away and then we'll go for a drive. All right, going for a drive in the X3. Let's make sure we're all recording. We are. Cool. The sunroof on this particular car, by the way, doesn't work. And I'm sure that's not representative of normal X3s. You know, you would just pull the switch. This one struggles. And that's about that. So we're in full eDrive, Max eDrive mode. We have the battery charged up to 100%. Instantly, really good regen off the bat. I will say the throttle tip-in's a little sharp in electric mode. It kind of has a delay, but you put your foot down and it goes. Let's say to the kickdown switch. It's really great. Wait a second. This shifts gears in electric mode. So the motor must be on the front side of the transmission. That's trippy. I don't like that at all. So hold on, let me just try this again. I'm gonna go put my foot to the kickdown switch, not flooring it. Yes, there's a shift and you can hear the electric motors. Whoa, that's weird. I know the 330e did that. It's probably the same drivetrain. I actually haven't looked at any of the specs, so these are very introductory videos. to the cars. We'll do like full in-depth EV testing. This is we do these videos as soon as the cars are dropped off, but that's pretty crazy that it shifts gears in electric mode. So we're in Comfort Max eDrive. Let's switch it to still Max eDrive, but I'm gonna go Auto eDrive. So this is like the hybrid mode. Now, keep in mind the engine's stone cold. It's 44 degrees outside, so I'm not just gonna like floor it on a cold engine, but that's a concern of mine with these hybrids and turbo 4-cylinders. Can they handle it if you just floor it? So here I'm getting into it. Whoa, it revved up a lot there. I just rolled into it and it sounded like 4,000 or 5,000 RPM. It didn't tell me though, because I'm in Comfort. In Sport, I believe you get, yes, you do get a tachometer, and you also have paddle shifters, which is kind of cool. So BMWs, you not only have Sport mode, you also have Sport, no, go away. You also have Sport Individual. So you have Sport Standard plus Individual, you have Comfort Normal, and then you have Eco Pro Standard or Individual. I just think it's so funny that there's different levels of everything here. So now I'm in the my configuration of Sport, which keeps the rev counter up. But then I can also increase that by moving the shifter to the left. Yeah, and it drops another gear. And yeah, there's just so many settings and modes of BMWs and how you want to configure them. We're going back to Comfort, and we're going back to Auto eDrive right here. Let's try out some of the safety technology. So I click this little button in the bottom left. I click set on speed, raise it. It says green, so it must be driving itself. Or I should say assisting in my driving. It's not driverless, it's just a level 2 autonomy system. I know in some BMWs there's eye tracking. I don't see the things for it in this one. So we'll have to play around with that a little bit. What else? Seats, pretty good, but they are, again, this one being an M Sport has more aggressive seats, but they kind of are cutting into my thighs. Now, I'm pretty big, like I'm not a small guy, but I gotta say the seats are digging into the underside, the outside of my thighs. That's not good. The back seat's pretty good, or the seat back, I should say. I don't know how the back seat room is. Okay, so now I've turned on cruise. I'm putting the distance to the closest, and I've set it to 40 miles an hour, and it's actively steering. Will it do it through the intersection? Yes, it will. Oh, and the speedometer goes red when you go over the speed limit. That's kind of neat. I don't remember my old BMWs doing that. So it's actively steering. Oh, hey, check this out. And we're driving around in electric. Now the power in electric mode is good, way better than Volvo's plug-in hybrids. And that's important because if you're getting a plug-in hybrid, you want to optimize the amount of time that you're spending in electric mode. And this car, you're able to spend quite a bit of time in electric mode. However, driving it around with the heater on, of course, it's cold out, cold start. It's only predicting right now 10 miles on a 95% charge. Will be generous. And that is a guessometer. That is based off of consumption history. Again, the car was just dropped off. I don't know how it was driven. We'll do our range testing. I'm sure we'll get more than 10 miles out of it, but that doesn't at least appear so great right off the bat. What does appear great is 288 horsepower. So you get another 80 horsepower over the standard X330i xDrive, and it costs about the same. And you get the ability to drive all electric like this. Ooh, now we're talking. That sounds good. So the adaptive systems are doing everything here. Will it see that this car is stopped? It did not, at least appear to. So I took over. That didn't seem that great. And now in hybrid mode. Okay, so what's interesting though is it gives you a little gauge on the right side of 0 to 100% of power. And I definitely went to 40, gave it a lot more power. It stayed at 40 and it stayed in electric mode. So it gives you a big buffer in this automatic setting to stay in electric mode. I guess that's good. For something like this, it doesn't need to kick on the engine. Now the engine's on. I don't see really any indicator that the engine's on other than a little blue line on the screen here that says how far I can go into the pedal before it kicks over. So I guess that's that. Lot to soak in with this car. It's a pretty complicated car. Off the bat, you know, I'm saying things as they pop into my head, but heads-up display, great. Turn signal click, awful. Turning that off. I won't, you know, it's a BMW. You're not supposed to use turn signals anyway, but these are especially bad. That noise is terrible. And now I know why no BMW uses turn signals. My i3 has a much better turn signal noise than that. Auto hold is great. Don't have to keep my foot on the brake. Sunroof is broken. That sucks. I hate this steering wheel. I think visually it looks nice. I really loved the last generation M Sport wheel the best, and that was thick, but this just feels meaty. I really like a thin spoke that I can work my way around the wheel. This is like ginormous. I guess if you hold it here with your thumbs at the 9 and 3, it's not as bad, but like just working your way around this wheel, it's like clawing onto something massive. I still would get one of these in the M Sport trim. It's worth every bit of $5,000 or $4,600 on the 2021 model year. It just looks so good. But man, does this wheel kind of take away from it. Now it is heated, which is nice, but I would almost go so far as to retrofit the non-M wheel onto the M Sport car. And I'm sure any non-M Sport X3 owner would say, yeah, please, I'd do that swap any day. This one has sort of a matte wood that looks pretty nice. I think that's pretty cool, and man, it's kind of good. Now, what we haven't tried yet are any of the sport mode stuff. So let's go into sport. The combustion engine kicked on instantly that we went into sport. I actually put the transmission into drive. It kicked on before I shifted it over. And so now we kind of have a cold 2-liter 4-cylinder B48 motor, B46 motor. It's the BMW standard 2-liter that they put in everything from the Mini to a 7 Series in Europe, for example. So it's a workhorse of an engine. They seem to be relatively bulletproof. I've heard nothing but good things. I've driven a lot of different cars with this motor. They sound nice. Definitely no complaints about the engine selection in this car. And you probably don't need the M40i X3. I think the plug-in hybrid's probably the way to go. The M40i I've driven, and it feels okay, but it's not an M. And so, like, you know, obviously it's not an M. It should be called the X335i or X340i. There should be no M badge involved with any of that. But it's not that... doesn't give you a thrill. The X3M, now I'd love to try that. I'm sure that's going to be great. It's actually on one of the like cars that I would consider owning because it's kind of a do-everything car and it's stupid fast. But the M40i is halfway, and I don't like anything that's halfway done. So I'd get the plug-in hybrid of the range or the X3M. Those would be the two I'd consider. It's the right size of car. Plenty of room in the back seats for friends and dogs and stuff. It's not too big. X5's a little big. This is certainly the right size. We're just letting the engine warm up so I can do some accelerations and whatnot. And it's got really cool lighting on the outside. When you walk up to this car, you get like a magic carpet that comes out. I really think that's neat. BMW and lighting, they've got it nailed right now. Them and Audi both, I think, are leading the lighting trends in the automotive industry. Man, I hate that turn signal. And the operation, everything about the signaling's bad, and I guess no BMW owner will ever notice that. Too many BMW owner puns for one video, I think. Anyway, what else do we have? Hill descent control, parking sensors. We have a camera thing, so I have a front camera. What is an activation point? Oh, so I can set it when I get to a certain address that it kicks on the camera. How about that? You can manage all of the points you've saved. Camera image, brightness, can conduct a movie. This is kind of neat. So now it's showing me my front camera. I don't know how to have it show me anything other than my front camera. Settings. Wow, so many settings. I think we went through panorama view, GPS based. It's just so many things you got to dive into with one of these things. It's not easy, it's not simple, but it's kind of cool. The steering wheel controls are very simple. You have your steering, your cruise control on and off, your distance, that all makes sense. I'm glad it has adaptive steering, active steering. That's really good. Engine should be good enough for a nice wide open at this point. So let's go sport everything and foot down. First impressions here. I mean, it's fine. I'd say it felt pretty quick. But it wasn't like melt your face fast. I don't know what I was expecting. I think driving around in electric mode led me to believe that it was going to be fast because watch, I can put it in, let's think about this. E-drive, max E-drive. Now I'm in max E-drive in sport and I can hit the kick down switch. Look at this. It's really fast. We're doing 50, 55. Come on, don't pull out in front of me. You know, it's just like fast in electric mode. You don't even ever need to use the engine. It downshifted just there? Why? So anyway, the X3 is, and it's possible the engine was still cold enough where it wasn't giving us full boost. That would actually be a good thing. I would say that would protect the longevity of that 4-cylinder. We'll be doing like in-depth tests. We'll take it up in the canyons. We'll do all that stuff. This is just initial impressions. But initial impressions are, car looks great. I love the X3 styling. I think it's the right size of car. You sit at the right place. Driving position's really good. It's a comfortable car. I'm a BMW fan. I like all the BMW Germanness about it. Love all the settings. For some people, it might be overwhelming. For me, I actually really enjoy it. The turn signals are awful. I would never use them, and so I'm not going to use them now. It's kind of hard to force myself not to use turn signals. Or just go back into sport, which we are now, foot down. All right, instantly the engine revs higher than in other configurations of this B46 motor I've tried. It went up to almost 7,000 RPM there. Typically, these things don't like to rev past 6, maybe 6,300. They kind of run out of steam. This just went all the way to 7, or at least 6,800. That's impressive. It sounded really good up top as well. I like the free reviness of it. Yeah, it's the right size of car. Hate the steering wheel, like the car. Doesn't really excite me in any way. Would I go for this or XT60 plug-in hybrid? I think that's going to be a tough choice. The Volvo, for me, gives off the better image. This gives off, I don't know, it's a little bit more generic. The Volvo still feels a little bit more special and unique. But if you are in the market for an X3, I think this one is the one to buy, no question. Either this or the M. But I would skip the M40 and I'd skip the full combustion versions. This is certainly the way to go, because you're not losing anything. You gain the ability of a hybrid system of driving around electric, getting free charging at points around your city, and it's faster. It's 288 horsepower, right? So that's not bad. It's got plenty of torque, instant throttle response. Man, and it's nice in here. It looks great. You know, I had my girlfriend sit in the car yesterday for the first time, just when we were checking it out last night. She's like, wow, yeah, this is the right size of car, works for me. I could totally see her having one of these things. And absolutely all about it. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you, we'll do way more things with this car. I just love these informal first glance videos that we get to do with cars. So much fun to bring you the new stuff. Gosh, I gotta stop using the turn signal. It's really bad. And love bringing all the new stuff as soon as they get dropped off and sharing my first impressions and setup. Let's go back to full throttle. Oh, it feels a lot faster there. Yeah, what a ripper. Yeah, hell yeah. This thing's great. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.